Donald Trump stated that peace can be achieved right now, but he named President Zelensky as the main obstacle to ending the war in Ukraine. This statement was made in an interview with Reuters and immediately caused a loud resonance around the world. President of the United States Donald Trump, speaking in the Oval Office of the White House, stated that he considers the Russian dictator Vladimir Putin to be more willing to make a peace deal than the Ukrainian leader. According to him, it is allegedly the position of the Ukrainian leadership that is stalling the negotiation process and preventing a quick end to the war. Trump claims that Russia, in his opinion, is ready to reach a peace agreement, while Ukraine is showing excessive intransigence regarding the terms for ending the hostilities. He emphasized that the key factor delaying the negotiations is precisely Kyiv's position, not Moscow's. Security guarantees after the end of the war. However, according to him, Kyiv should be more flexible regarding compromises and possible concessions within the framework of a peace agreement. These statements provoked an immediate reaction from the Ukrainian authorities. The president of Ukraine, Volodymyr Zelensky, firmly rejected the accusations, stating that the international community is well aware that it is Russia that continues the hostilities and refuses to take real steps toward a ceasefire. The office of the president of Ukraine emphasized that Kyiv has always sought peace, but only on terms that guarantee the security of the Ukrainian people and the restoration of the state's sovereignty and territorial integrity. The real reason for the lack of peace is the Kremlin's aggression and Moscow's unwillingness to end the war. Ukraine's international partners also responded to Trump's statement. Representatives of the European Union and NATO emphasized that peace cannot be imposed through unilateral decisions and must be based on international law. It must take into account the interests of Ukraine as the victim of aggression. Analysts note that Trump's rhetoric may be part of his political strategy and an attempt to quickly demonstrate results in the form of ending the war. At the same time, shifting the responsibility for delaying peace onto Ukraine creates additional risks for stability in the region. The Kremlin, in turn, promptly supported Trump's statements. Russian officials called his assessments objective and stated that Moscow is supposedly open to negotiations if its demands are taken into account. In Kyiv, such statements are regarded as yet another attempt at manipulation and pressure. They do not share the approach in which responsibility for the war is effectively removed from Russia. They emphasize that lasting peace is only possible if the aggression stops, Russian troops are withdrawn, and Ukraine regains control over its internationally recognized borders. Thus, Donald Trump's statement has become one of the most high-profile topics in world politics in recent days. It has demonstrated deep differences in approaches to ending the war, and it has shown that even among Western partners, there is no unity regarding what the path to peace should look like. The further development of events will show whether these words will remain just an element of political rhetoric and the future of the war in Ukraine. The head of the office of the president of Ukraine, Kyirylo Budanov, stated directly that Ukraine is already on the path to a decisive resolution of the war, but at the same time, he warned that it is too early to talk about a quick peace and guarantees of a cessation of hostilities prematurely. These significant and impactful words were spoken directly during the high-level proceedings of the World Economic Forum held in Davos, Switzerland, and they possess the potential to fundamentally change global perceptions regarding the future prospects for finally ending the ongoing war and achieving a lasting peace. Budanov noted that the most interesting question today is where exactly Ukraine stands in the context of the peace process. And he expressed hope that the country is indeed moving toward a decisive resolution of the war, which he called one of the most horrific and bloodiest in Europe since World War II. According to him, this does not mean that peace will come as soon as tomorrow. There are no such guarantees, and it would be wrong to talk about this prematurely. We want to hope that we are indeed on the path to a decisive resolution of our war, which, I would like to remind everyone once again, is the bloodiest and most horrific war on European soil since the end of World War II, and certainly one of them. One of the bloodiest in the entire post-war history of the world. It cannot be said that peace will come tomorrow, guaranteed. If someone says that, it is definitely not true. But a great deal of effort is being made, Budanov emphasized during his speech. He assured that the key work on the peace process is being carried out not only by the Ukrainian authorities, but also in close coordination with partners. In particular, with the United States and other allies of Ukraine. According to Budanov, this movement truly exists, and Ukraine is moving forward despite the difficulties. However, he also made it clear that the results of the peace process largely depend on the position of the Russian Federation. A key change in all subsequent scenarios. Budanov characterized and described the current state of negotiation efforts as being somewhat cautiously positive in nature, but he carefully refrained from allowing himself to make any unfounded or overly optimistic forecasts. Such peace can only be achieved in cooperation with partners who share Ukraine's values and are ready to guarantee its security after the war ends. This underscores the importance not only of diplomatic efforts, but also of strategic partnership with allied countries. Experts note that Budanov's statement coincides with a number of others' assessments regarding the prospects for peace. In particular, he previously named February 2026 as the most favorable period for potentially reaching agreements, citing cycles of hostilities as well as logistical and political factors that could facilitate a breakthrough in negotiations. However, Budanov has also consistently and firmly underscored the point that a lasting and stable peace cannot be arbitrarily forced upon a nation or externally imposed. It must be such that it ensures Ukraine's long-term security, its sovereignty, and territorial integrity. Otherwise, peace risks becoming merely a pause before new threats arise. The Ukrainian position in peace negotiations has traditionally been based on the principles of respect for international law, the restoration of borders, and the inviolability of sovereignty. Budanov has also said that negotiations are a complex and multifaceted process that requires the participation of many players and a deep understanding of the geopolitical situation. Thus, according to Budanov, Ukraine, despite all the difficulties, is moving toward a decisive resolution of the war. However, the path to peace is still long and depends not only on Kyiv, but also on the behavior and willingness of the Kremlin to engage in serious dialogue.